Hello and welcome to the Personalities of the Tarot. I'm your host, Elizabeth Seer, and this is Season 2, Episode 6, where we're discussing mid-Libra and the Three of Swords energy for early October 2023. As always, I'll include my tarot tip for this episode and a list of famous and infamous birthdays. This week, I'm throwing in a quick story time from a reading I did this weekend, because mediumship still blows my mind. How'd that super full moon on the 28th, morning of the 29th go for you? Now, we typically deal with full moon energy plus 5 days or so after its peak. And it just so happens that both of my daughters, who are both water signs, they've been dealing with two very different yet very painful emergency health issues from this past weekend. One had to have her pinky toe sewn back on. Yes, you did hear that right. And the other daughter is dealing with an incredibly painful acute maxillofacial issue, which came up within hours of the full moon's peak the morning of October 29th. And now we enter mid-Libra, October 2nd through the 11th or 12th, always give or take a day or so in astrology. This period is ruled by the Three of Swords in the tarot. Now let me draw you a picture. The Three of Swords is typically depicted with a heart and three swords stabbing it. There's also dark clouds above and rain falling. You get the idea of what this card is all about just by looking at it. So here's the deal. I'm just not going to spend a ton of time on this decan of mid-Libra. I'm just going to run through it as quickly as I can. Those born October 2nd through the 11th or so may, like all of us, experience deep and sorrowful loss at varying times. But these Libras are challenged to not overblow a situation while also allowing themselves to mourn genuine loss and transition. Libras are good at not dealing with those things on an emotional level, so they may need to be reminded that going through the grief process can release the pain associated with a person or situation. The Three of Swords personality may actually see more loss around them or be asked to step up during those times when the heart is breaking. They're typically wise and good healers, counselors, and leaders, especially if they can get out of their own way and judgments, and that includes the self-judgment and second-guessing their decisions. Now, for everyone of all signs, cry if you need to, especially when misery, sorrow, and pain are evident. This period of mid-Libra may bring feelings of betrayal, the end of a relationship, or someone or something passing from your life. You may feel separated from loved ones, kind of like how I currently feel about being so far from my toe-losing daughter. Luckily, she does have a good support system around her where she's at. It will be very important to find things to do which keep your mind from wandering into negative states of despair. Suffering a setback or loss is a time to have a good cry, which is all part of the cleansing process. So express your sadness, letting it all out, and that will help you move forward again. Sorrow is a great motivator for change. If it hurts and you don't want it to hurt, you'll eventually move in another direction, trying to put the pain in the past. But don't bury it, trying to go about your daily life as if nothing's wrong. Feel it fully so it can be released to the universe and no longer yours to bear alone. This week's tarot tip is all about comparing and learning some light numerology. For instance, pull out all of the aces and compare what they have in common. Pull out all of the threes and look at their commonalities. Now, without giving it all away, here are some one-word examples for the numbered cards in the Minor Arcana from my book Ex Libri Tarot and the booklet in my Seer's Casting Tarot set. So, aces are seeds. Twos are balance. Threes involve others. Fours are stability. Fives rearrange. 6s bring healing. 7s are refinement. 8s are repetition. 9s are reflection. And 10s bring us full circle. Learning the basics of the numbers can be helpful in your quest to connect with tarot. It's cool story time. Now, I don't know if this will be a regular thing or not, but if you're listening on Spotify, please make sure to answer the question about this segment on the podcast episode page. I really think that full moon, and it was the last supermoon of the year, it really helped with a strong intuitive nudge this past weekend. All of my readings felt pretty incredible. The end of one has really stuck with me, though, for its just awesome validation of the essence which continues on after our physical body can no longer house the soul. So at the end of the reading, and at the end of most readings, I said, okay, we're getting ready to wrap up. Do you have any other questions or need clarification on anything? And the client said, actually, I was hoping to get an answer from my dad and brother, both of whom were on the other side and had shown up earlier for just a moment in the reading. The client said they wanted to plant 2 trees in their yard in the upcoming season, one for their brother and one for their father. So they asked, what plants, what trees do they want me to grow for them in their honor? My father really didn't believe in planting trees that didn't grow food, so they have to be food-bearing trees. I immediately felt her father step forward, and I saw apples. I mean, I saw so many apples. I could feel them and smell them and taste them in my mouth, and the crunch and the sweetness of just biting into a perfectly ripened apple. I could just tell he absolutely loved apples. So I told the client, your father would love if you could grow apples in his honor, but now he's telling me that for some reason you're unable to grow them. So he wants you to plant something citrus, but not a citrus that you could buy in your local grocery store. And the client kind of sniffled and said, you know, he's right. Where I live now, I can't grow apples. But my dad loved everything apple. He loved growing them. He loved eating baked apples, apple pie, apple butter on toast, eating them right off the tree. He loved apples. But since I can't grow them in my zone, I was actually looking into a very special lime, which is definitely not available at any grocery stores or markets around here. Then the brothers stepped up to the plate, and the message was nuts. Like a nut, like a nut tree, something with nuts. I actually saw my parents' old place with their huge pecan trees fortifying the edges of their property. I saw pecans in the trees and all over the ground. I felt their shells cracking under my feet. I saw pecan pies. Sorry, my grandma used to call them pecan. Pecan pies being taken from the oven. So I told the client, your brother wants a pecan tree. And the client just said, yeah, that makes so much sense. He loved pecans. I forgot how much we enjoyed pecans as a kid, and I think I can actually grow them here. By the way, is there anything else my dad or brother have to tell me? So I looked for the images that Spirit shows me through clairvoyance and the words that I hear through something other than my physical ears using clairaudience, and I said, your dad says to be careful up on the ladder. He keeps showing me someone near a roof on a ladder. And he's pretty adamant. Are you doing something around the house with a ladder? He's really adamant about your need to be careful up on a ladder. And the client gasped and said, well, part of my job includes roofing estimation, and I'm up on a ladder at least several times a week. Lately, I haven't been using the security features on the ladders because they take extra time and we've been busy. I've been rushing. I guess I need to stop doing that. Quick side note, I had no idea what this person did for a living before that moment. We just hadn't found a need to discuss it earlier in the reading. So then their brother also came through with a final message, and he said thank you. But the essence of the message was that he was thanking the client using sign language, like thank you, with that hand motion at the chin. Now, normally I hear a thank you. Sometimes they even come through speaking another language, and although I may not understand the language, if I was hearing it with my own ears, I can usually pick up on a region and the essence of the message. And in this case, the brother was saying thank you and showing me he was doing that with ASL. And the client once again sucked in their breath and said, "Whew, our mother was a special education teacher and would have us volunteer in her classes when we were younger. So everyone in our family knows ASL." And I said, and I remember the feeling. I was like, wow, he's very thankful, like very thankful. You did something big or amazing for him, and the gratitude is almost overwhelming. And the client sighed and replied and said, yeah, that makes sense. My brother had problems. I adopted his child when she was just a baby, and I raised her as my own. I have to tell you, experiencing something like that is still, to this day, after all of this validation to which I've been blessed to bear witness, it just blows my mind that I can do this, that I can talk to people on the other side and bring through such validating, incredible, soul-moving messages. Do all of my mediumship readings have this kind of clarity? I can't say. Firstly, not all of my intuitive or psychic readings actually involve mediumship where I connect with and speak to the dead. I really only go there if the client gives permission or when a soul on the other side has tapped me with the same message at least 3 times within a short period. And of course, like all psychics, sometimes I'll see things through a fog and just not clearly, or I know, it's how I'm supposed to see them, but I still normally pull out the essence of a message and will end up saying out loud that one word or phrase that really touches the soul. But this one was really special, and I felt very connected with these particular souls. They were just coming through with such incredible strength and clarity. And I do have to admit, I was riding so high after that reading. It was the last one of the weekend, and ending on such a blessed high note really, really felt great. It's famous birthday time. Here is my random list of famous or infamous mid-Libra characters and celebrities born October 2nd through the 11th or so. Well, actually, the ones on this list are born October 2nd to the 11th. And as always, this list does not mean I agree or disagree with a person's words or life choices. It's simply to educate on that mid-Libra personality, giving you the opportunity to compare public personas with their tarot and astrological correlations, for bad or good. So I'm going to start with Josh Klinghoffer, Elizabeth Shue, Sir Thomas More, Julie Andrews, Isai Morales, Brie Larson, Beck Bennett, Gwen Stefani, and she shares a birthday with my sister, Tommy Lee, Al Sharpton, Susan Sarandon, Liev Schreiber, Russell Simmons, Anne Rice, Buster Keaton, Kate Winslet, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Yo-Yo Ma, Toni Braxton, John Mellencamp, Simon Cowell, Desmond Tutu, who won the Nobel Peace Prize, and peace is a very Libra trait, Matt Damon, Bruno Mars, R.L. Stine, Sharon Osbourne, Guillermo del Toro, John Lennon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ed Wood, Joan Cusack, Cardi B, Eleanor Roosevelt, and Luke Perry. We're still in Libra and Justice, so go back to the last episode, Season 2, Episode 5, to hear about that overlying energy. We're also coming to the end of the Queen of Swords time. I talked about her at the end of Virgo with Season 2, Episode 4. On the next episode, we'll talk about the personality of the Knight of Cups, which begins October 12th and takes us through November 11th. I'm also going to discuss the final trump card in Libra, which is the last third of the sign, and that is the Four of Swords. If you don't already know, I'm a 5-star tarot and psychic reader. I have 5 stars on Google, Fiverr, Groupon, Fresha, etc. And while I mentioned it on my last podcast, I'm not really a big fan of Yelp, but I do think I might even have 5 stars there as well. You can always book a session with me by visiting elizabethseer.com, and that's Seer, S-E-E-R. I also offer a few different products to help you in your tarot and divination journey. I have links at my site for my book Ex Libri Tarot from the Library of Tarot, which is an easy tool for those interested in starting their tarot journey, and it can be purchased as a paperback through Amazon. And did you know that I'm also an oracle and tarot creator too? The Lenormand Seer Oracle was released last year, and it's currently available as a casting oracle or in card format. I do use both versions regularly. But I think the one I'm most excited about right now is my Seer's Casting Tarot. I released it a couple of weeks ago. I also did something super cool this past week. Instead of a board, I thought about a tarot cloth because I love a good tarot cloth. And it's obviously so portable, much easier than a folding board. So I ended up taking the design for the casting board and I placed it on custom printed cloth, and it looks gorgeous. So I will be offering a handful, limited number of custom cloth versions, along with a custom bag within the next month or so. So I'll let you know, and it'll be on my website when it's available. The tarot set, the casting set is awesome. Just great for standalone tarot readings, casting readings, yes/no readings, or as a great companion to other tarot cards and oracles. And again, you'll find that info and links on both the Lenormand Seer Oracle and Seer's Casting Tarot at my website, elizabethseer.com. I normally post a video version of this podcast on YouTube within about 2 or 3 days of its release here. Last week it was a little late because of my birthday and the sheer length of last week's episode. I also have informative tarot videos and some cool information on my Lenormand Seer Oracle out there. I do have stagnant TikTok and Instagram accounts too. So I'm just horrible at the whole social media thing. I prefer sticking with my spiritual work and my readings and my tarot stuff. Doing the social media part of it is kind of the bane of my existence, but I'm trying. Of course, I always got to shout out my Chicks with Spiritual Gifts. So if you're interested in different intuitive readers or even a new type of reading, make sure to check out my team at chickswithspiritualgifts.com. We love sharing Terry's legacy, offering individual readings, and I think some classes might be coming soon too. So check out chickswithspiritualgifts.com. So, as we end this, I just want to say, hey, let's get through the Three of Swords mid-Libra period with compassion and empathy for others who need it, as well as ourselves. Don't forget to be kind to yourself. Give yourself some grace while you're also doing the same for others. You've been listening to Elizabeth Seer, and I'm grateful for this time with you.